I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, July the 19th, brought to you in part by Vigor Tone. Part of being in the cattle business is dealing with things that are out of your control. It comes with the job. But when you feed Vigor Tone mineral, there's one thing you can always count on. Peace of mind knowing that your cattle are getting the nutrition they need when they need it. Learn more at vigortone.com. The cash feeder cattle rally is over. It seemed like we were going gangbusters there as the market was really coming to these green grass yearling sellers as it got to the time. Outstanding demand from the feedlots, as those are the best feeding cattle of the whole year, and everybody knows it. A lot of these buyers, that they were afraid that if they didn't get this market coming to these guys, that the guys were going to end up feeding them themselves, which is the last thing they want them to do, as a lot of those cattle could gain 5 or 6 pounds a day and really have a chance to make some money. But as we've seen the rally, which was a short rally, 1 week, and your fat cattle business kind of fade off, and the board refuses to give any support in this heat that's come on. I tell you what, it's just really getting smoky hot and sultry all over the Midwest and the plains, right in the cattle country. It's just kind of pushed away this demand that we had seen coming on for these green grass yearlings. They still want them. They can't give the prices that they were given here last week, early this week, and it's just really started to fade off. But let's look at the board. On Thursday, your August live cattle futures down 72 cents at 107.40. October down $0.50 at 108.25. You look out front on your live cattle futures, they top out at April at 117.75. August feeder cattle down $1.15 at 139.42. September down $1.30 at 139.47. But just little variance in your feeder cattle board going on into the next posted months. Barely $2 a hundred difference all the way out into next spring. And it's funny because your cash feeder cattle market is very volatile, but looking on the board at those contracts, there's just very little volatility at all in your contracts as far out as they go. Your fat cattle trade through Wednesday, they'd sold 45,500 head in your 5-area feeding region, negotiated cash. That's about half what they need to trade. They did have a more significant trade on Thursday, and they may not get to 90,000, but they'll probably have done all the business that they need to do, as they had some late trade in the afternoon on Thursday, which will show up later on in the week, and it'll be a full trade for the week. But the Southern Plains almost entirely, or pretty much all, in Kansas, and then Texas, and consolidated beef producers traded on Thursday afternoon in Texas and Kansas, and pretty widespread trade in the Southern Plains, all at 111, which is $1 lower. That's a pretty good basis there when you look at your spot August live cattle contract, just under 107.5. So that's some money for those guys to put in their pocket on the hedged feeders. Northern Plains, of course, trading at a premium because being at the floods and everything when these cattle should have been put on, just not a lot of market ready fat cattle in your Northern Plains. But Iowa, and still trading at a premium because they have so many Iowa farmer feeders feeding for quality instead of efficiency, and that's what your regional packers want, and they're more than willing to come in there and give $1 or $2 for some of those premium carcasses. But Iowa live sales on Thursday from 114 to 116, mostly 114, and that'd be about $1 lower. Your dress trade 182 to 185. Nebraska sold cattle again on Thursday at 113 to 115 live, mostly 114, be $1 lower for them also. And your dress trade at 182 to 183, but it's going to be off the edge from last week a little bit with a lot of 182. Box beef cutout values rose a little bit on Thursday late in the week, and they haven't fallen off as much as we thought they probably would, because seasonally during this start of the dog days of summer, they usually fade off a little bit and then will come back again for late summer demand and Labor Day type cookouts. But choice cutouts up 77 cents on Thursday afternoon at $213.34. Your selects up 27 cents at $188.61, and continued pretty strong volume even on your daily movements. Your slaughter through Thursday, 481,000, that's 3,000 more than last week. 7,000 more than last year. Your actual slaughter data coming in for the week ending the 4th of July week. It's always 2 weeks behind, so ending on the holiday week with your dressed steer weights at 861 pounds. They've gone off their lows and now coming back pretty strong. That 861, 6 pounds more than the previous report, but still 6 pounds lighter than the same time last year, and also 6 pounds lighter than the 5-year average. So we're pretty current, and our weights are not as heavy as they've been in recent years. So we're in good shape. We've got good demand, good beef demand. They're moving it. We've got good volume on our dressed beef sales. So everything's still going pretty good. We just can't seem to scrape any more market position back. Look at your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on Cattle Market Central late on Thursday at 138.79. That was off just 26 cents from Wednesday's close, but it's come off quite a bit because we were well into the 40s just earlier in the week. Look at some of your big sales on Thursday. Pratt, Kansas, the heat has settled in that area too. They did not have a big run. 1,600 head there, and really not well tested on any of her classes there. We've got to get more towards the Flint Hills where cattle are moving off those double stock pastures. Farmers and Ranchers Livestock, Salina, Kansas, 2,800 head there. That's kind of a light run for them also this time of year as they're back from wheat harvest break. But you look at this stick out sale on an individual quote out of Salina. 59 steers weighed 826 pounds at 146.50. That'd be the top of the market out there, guys. And then a market that we haven't been quoting very long on Cattle Market Central on the National Beef Wire here, but we are getting automated quotes out of El Dorado, Kansas there, and that's the heart of the Flint Hills, guys. And this is the first week we'll be getting those double stock cattle off there. They'll be coming from now through the end of the month, but they got to be off by the end of the month. But 2,700 head in El Dorado, that's a pretty good run for a country sale there, but it's right in the Flint Hills. But look at this market report from El Dorado, Kansas there. Look at some significant quotes there in your yearlings on steers and heifers. Going to give you some prices on the best tested weights there. 313 head of 7-weight steers. These would all be off the blue stem grass there. 313 head of the 7 weights, average 749 at 148.98. Pretty good quote there. 588 head of 8-weight steers in El Dorado, averaged 847 at 138.62. That's kind of the market there, as there were a lot of cattle weighing over 8.5, and they start to come off pretty fast as you get heavier in those weights. 576 head of 9-weight steers, averaged 921 at 131.64. Look at some heifers. 222 head of 7-weight heifers in El Dorado, averaged 736 at 132.81, and 205 head of 8-weight heifers averaged 827 at 129.39. We should see good runs at that sale barn in the next 2 weeks, and it'll be interesting to see how those auction quotes do in comparison to some of your direct trade and some of your sales that we had over the video over the last several weeks. But look at the stick out sale and a premium sale. You get up in the northern plains there. Mitchell, South Dakota always has a big sale. 2,900 head there. It's hot up there too, guys. Not a big sale there, but they are going to have a big sale the next time, which is July 25th, expecting 5,000 head plus in Mitchell. So be looking forward to that sale later this month. But Mitchell always sells those big backgrounded steers really well. But tell you how guys are thinking about this market. They're just not very excited about near term, because they had a couple loads there that weighed well up in the 1,000-pound range there, averaging 1070 and 1076. But those loads only bring 116.75 and 118.35. It hasn't been very long ago they was bringing well up into the 120s. But the stick out sale on some 8-weight steers in Mitchell, best that we saw on Thursday, 61 head of 870-pound steers in Mitchell, South Dakota, bring 147.10. And now coming to you from Greensboro, Alabama here in this quaint little bed and breakfast, going to be speaking at the Stalker Cattle Short Course here in Greensboro, and if I sounded a little twangy on this report, being down here in the deep south, I done got my southern on. But that's your feeder flash for Friday.